Just one more thing now remains for the personnel here in Gothenburg. The car will now be carefully packed so that nothing can be damaged before it is sent by air to Detroit. The crystal center console is, of course, a slight worry.
We packed the car ready for the go on transport to Detroit. The container will be climate controlled container because we are very afraid that something happens with the different materials we have used, especially the glass. The crystal piece is one of our babies. So we try to be very careful with that and hope that and keep our fingers crossed that everything arrives in a very good shape when it arrives in the US.
Outside of my window, just like that blue bird, I'm ready to fly. I've got a whole world.
It takes many weeks to build up a motor show, where car manufacturers compete with each other to attract journalists. It's a question of being seen and getting as much media attention as possible. Despite the fact that the motor show here in Detroit this year is a somewhat low-key event, it is still the most important marketplace in the United States when new car models are to be presented. But for Volvo, preparations didn't begin too promisingly.
Like Hans Greuters was afraid of, the last thing we wanted to happen has happened in the car. We have a small dent, a small crack in the crystal. This is what happens when you deal with real authentic materials. But yeah, we have talked to Orrefors, we have a solution for this, and we should be able to replace this. So yeah, there is a solution at least.
Of course, it's very exciting and worrying before you know how the critical press will react. As here, competition is really tough, to say the least. But the S60 Concept was given an unusually positive reception from the collected world's press here in Detroit.
Well, the reactions have been wonderful about the car. Lots of questions, of course, about the ownership of the company. And I've just said, look, the first thing we've got to do, and the only thing we've got to do as a group, is return Volvo to sustainable profitability. Once we've done that, then the ownership issue becomes a better discussion. Until we do that, it's not really a discussion to worry about.
It's a strong enough car. It's a definite move forward from the car that you had before, which Volvo had before, which had become very stale, very dead in the market, really. And as customers might well start to come out of bigger, heavier cars into a more compact car, then a good one would be very welcome for Volvo. But of course we don't know how good it's going to be to drive, what the fuel figures are, so on. All we know is it should be a good looking car.
I think we first see this design on the XC60 crossover, and I think it seems to translate very well to the sedan, which is interesting.
For Volvo cars, it is an absolute must that this car is successful.
Oh, amazing. If it ever comes out, the tail lights or the headlights just look awesome. The way the contour of the car, Volvo's definitely stepping up.
Not a fan of the color.
Why?
I just don't think that it's as eye-catching as another color could be, like blue. I think it would have looked better in silver or white for show purposes.
I think in general, most people will like it. I think what Volvo will have problems with is convincing people that this is actually a Volvo. I don't think in the United States a lot of people actually think of a Volvo as a sporty type brand.
The design is beautiful. I love the design on the back end. The way it looks is very different. It has a nice sleek line also. It's a beautiful car.
I think now they're kind of breaking through and coming through now with a different, sportier view, aiming towards a younger generation. It looks awesome.
Daniel Howes, who is one of the USA's most experienced motor journalists, believes that the conditions are favorable for Volvo to succeed in the future.
One is its great brand reputation for safety and around the world, not just in the United States, but around the world, and secondly, in its global distribution network. Volvo brings a premium distribution network that a lot of manufacturers who want to play on the global stage do not have.
But despite the fact that the times are extremely tough right now, Stephen Odell believes that the company is on the right track. You really have to go for it if you really want to win. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
It's tough now, but it's tough for everybody. So not just automotive makers, but for every business around the world. Hopefully, 2008 was the year that everybody went down, and 2009 is the year that we start to come up as an industry. We've taken the tough decisions on cost, which were very necessary. I think we moved quickly enough for them to be effective, but you can't just save yourself into a profit. It's got to be about products, and we've got a wonderful product cadence for the future, and then we've got to communicate them in a way that's more engaging than perhaps we've done in the past.
It's really a privilege, to get to work on a car like this, where we get to explore creativity and design to a maximum. I'm really excited about when we get to combine all of this with the efforts that we work on the environmental side, which we are soon about to release.